Hey, everybody, welcome to YouTube Live. We're going to talk about vitamin D today. A new study comes out in the Public Library of Sciences, and we're going to continue our observational study that is Dr. Fauci is an idiot and needs to be fired, and soon will, maybe. So we'll talk about that as we simulcast with Blog Talk Radio here in just less than 1 minute. So bear with me for just a second, and we'll get things rolling here. Just in a couple seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
The information you hear on the Nutrition Shop's Health Talk with Dr. Len is intended to be educational and not intended to diagnose or treat disease. Individual concerns should be addressed to your health professional. It's time for the Nutrition Shop's Health Talk with registered pharmacist, clinical nutritionist, and naturopathic doctor, Dr. Len Branswitz. He's here to use his knowledge to impact your health and change your life. Get more information on the website at nutritionshop.net. Right now, you can call the Nutrition Shop's Health Talk at 347-989-8205. That's 347-989-8205. And now your host for the Nutrition Shop's Health Talk, Dr. Len Branswitz.
You know, I love studies that stand the test of time. And when you have a short time like we've been dealing with COVID, the one thing that surfaces over and over and over and over again is the ability of vitamin D to protect one from COVID and to cut the severity of COVID dramatically. Why does medicine continually go back after vitamin D? Why do they not want to accept the fact? Well, a new study came out yesterday from the Public Library of Science, coming out of McGill University in Quebec. And I will make sure that, even though I heard it on TV this morning from dear idiot boy Dr. Fauci, that I will tell you that this study is as flawed as any study I've ever seen. So when you hear it on the news, remember, you must go back and get the truth. You don't listen to this nonsense that you hear on the news channels. Also, the Washington Post this morning, June 2nd, obtained a treasure trove of Dr. Fauci's emails and is making them public. The spin is to highlight how this brave bureaucrat navigated the early days of the pandemic against all odds. And ironically, at the end of this treasure trove of emails was the announcement that Dr. Fauci is releasing a book in November. And I'm sure that'll make the New York Times bestseller list. Lies, lies, and more lies. That man single-handedly has been responsible for the mishandling of COVID in this country. And we continue to make progress. And now at this juncture, a year to a year and a half into this, we're going to try to convince people to stop taking their vitamin D. I think that is heresy. Now, for those of you that aren't aware that we're also simulcasting this on Blog Talk Radio, as we do all the time on Blog Talk Radio, we start each show with the Star Spangled Banner. I'm just looking through some of this treasure trove of Dr. Fauci, Pope Fauci, they call him now. Pope Fauci's emails. Masks are for infected people, he said. The typical mask you buy is really not effective at keeping out the virus. And this lovely little quote from about 6 months ago, I do not recommend you wear a mask. The guy's an idiot. But anyway, let's move on. Why do I smell Dr. Fauci behind this? Again, in an attempt to push you to vaccinate, which again, you need to pray about, you need to understand, you need to make the decision for you and your family about getting vaccinated, as over half of this country now has. But if you're sitting back just relying on vitamin D, and I have said this all along, the protocol that I put together with vitamin D at a high dose, N-acetylcysteine and buffered C, and probiotics, I strongly believe, that's me, that would protect me. You make the decision for yourself. Now, at this juncture, I believe they're trying to discount vitamin D because they want you to make sure that you're not one of those that just use that to protect yourself. You need to get vaccinated. So this comes out of the Public Library of Science yesterday. It starts out with a keyword. Observational studies have suggested that increased vitamin D levels may protect against COVID-19. Observational studies, real-based studies that measured vitamin D levels up to this juncture for the last year and a half have proven vitamin D to work. Well, then why do we need to go any further? They said, however, these studies were inconclusive. Really? They're ongoing, and they're still going. And possibly subject to confounding. Oh my God. Could there have been something confounding behind these studies? A study published in the Public Library of Science Medicine by Guillaume Laporte, McGill University in Quebec, and his colleagues, here's another key word, suggests that genetic evidence does not support vitamin D as a protective measure against COVID-19. It does not say that vitamin D does not protect you against COVID. It says genetic evidence doesn't. Genetic evidence does not. The ability of vitamin D to protect against, another key word, severe COVID-19 illness is of great interest to public health experts. So if it's a great interest, let's delve a little deeper and let's blow it away. It has limited supporting evidence. There have been double-blinded studies done of those that have been hospitalized versus those that survived versus those that have succumbed, and there's been enough documented information that vitamin D does protect. Researchers conducted, listen to this nonsense, this BS that they used, a Mendelian randomized study using genetic variants strongly associated with increased vitamin D levels. What they're saying is, instead of measuring vitamin D levels, instead of giving half of a group vitamin D and half a group not, instead of checking vitamin D levels in this group versus this other grouping over here, they looked at genetic variants. They looked at that grouping of people that had a genetic predisposition for higher than normal vitamin D levels. I've come across that myself. Individuals that are taking a very low dose of vitamin D but had vitamin D levels in the hundreds because they were genetically predisposed to escalate those levels. That didn't mean that they had a higher level of protection. It meant it looked that way. The authors analyzed genetic variants of 4,134 individuals with COVID-19 and 1.2 million without COVID-19 from 11 countries to determine whether genetic predisposition for higher vitamin D levels was associated with less severe disease outcomes. Not whether vitamin D was. If and only if. you had that genetic variant. The results showed no evidence for an association between, listen to this word, genetically predicted vitamin D levels, not vitamin D levels, genetically predicted, and COVID-19 susceptibility. This is one of the most horrific studies I have seen in a long time. And I am really embarrassed to say that the Public Library of Science, but of course, if you look at the idiots running this country, you can understand that this kind of stuff will get published. And I smell a snake. I smell Fauci in the background. Do you smell him? Take a sniff. Let's blow that vitamin D, which has been the longest standing that those naturalist people out there have been throwing at us. That if you take vitamin D, you don't have to get vaccinated. Let's blow it away. So let's get some nonsensical study coming out of Canada. Yeah, they're doing really well in Canada, aren't they? According to the authors, vitamin D supplementation as a public health measure to improve outcomes is not supported by this study. Bull. Most importantly, our results suggest that investments in other therapeutic or preventative avenues should be prioritized for COVID-19 randomized clinical trials. Other therapeutic or preventative avenues, i.e., smell it clearly, folks. It's called vaccines. Dr. Laporte notes, most vitamin D studies are very difficult to interpret since they cannot adjust for known risk factors for severe COVID-19, such as. So he's discounting these because we can't adjust for older age that would naturally come with lower levels. Institutionalization, which would naturally come with lower levels. Having chronic disease, which would naturally come with lower levels. Therefore, the best way to answer the question of the effect of vitamin D would be through randomized trials, but these are complex and resource intensive. It may take a long time during a pandemic. We've had a year and a half of documentation, folks, dear Dr. Laporte. Mendelian randomization can provide more clear insights. No, it can't. I'm sorry, it can't. Yeah, it'll decrease bias. Yeah, because we're going to look and see that you have an individual that may be genetically predisposed for higher levels. And I guarantee you, if there's any physicians listening right now, you know that there's some people in your practice that are like that. Other people that were taking 10,000 IUs of vitamin D every day, or your prescription 50,000, you took it every week, and they never maintained a vitamin D level. Yet on the other hand, there was those that took 1,000 IUs every day and managed to get these astronomically high levels. How's that possible? Because they had a genetic predisposition to supercharge that in their liver when the conversion was taking place. They're a blessed grouping, but that extra, if I'm giving somebody 1,000 IUs of vitamin D and they genetically are predisposed to higher levels, that doesn't mean they have a higher level of protection. I'm sorry, they don't. I smell Fauci. I smell a snake. I smell another push all the way from the White House to push vaccines even further down the line, down to our newborns. It's coming, folks. Mark my word. If you're not taking sufficient vitamin D, you're missing the greatest opportunity to protect yourself. If you're not taking probiotics on a regular basis, you're missing one of the best ways to protect yourself. Here's a little piece on our Ultra Probiotic. Please listen.
I want to talk to you for just a minute about our probiotic of choice called the Ultra Probiotic by Foster Riegel. It delivers 30 billion viable organisms per serving, 10 different beneficial strains, a combination of freeze-dried probiotic bacteria, with the big difference being inulin, I-N-U-L-I-N, a beneficial prebiotic. 30 billion organisms in 2 capsules. Each capsule has 15 billion. It contains both probiotics and prebiotics that work together to support digestion and the immune system, featuring a proprietary blend of 10 different probiotic strains plus inulin, a prebiotic that stimulates the growth of friendly intestinal bacteria to support colon health. As a dietary supplement, we recommend 1 to 2 capsules daily, preferably with a meal. It conforms to all the regulations, USP 2091. You don't need to know any of that for disintegration and maximum bioavailability. It's passed all the tests. No artificial colors, no flavors, no sweeteners, no preservatives, no sugar, no starch, no soy, no wheat, no fish, and it is sodium free, non-GMO. Most importantly, made in the USA in an FDA registered facility using good manufacturing practices. Made locally here in the continental United States for us from Foster Regal. In our opinion, the best probiotic on the market today. We strongly recommend it for everybody, from newborns all the way up. Take advantage of that. Give us a call. We'll give you more information. 678-228-8900. 678-228-8900. Let's get Foster Regal's Ultra Probiotic working for you. See you soon.
All right, folks. That's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If you have questions, again, give us a call at the office, 678-228-8900. Set up your own personal consultation time now. Take advantage of everything that we have to offer. Sign up for our newsletter. Check out everything on our website at The Nutrition Shop, SHOPPE, thenutritionshop.net. All right, folks, have a great, healthy day. Again, the number to reach me, 678-228-8900. We'll see you back here soon. Take care.
Now that you received your daily dose, remember you can go back and listen to this information again at blogtalkradio.com or at our website, thenutritionshop.net.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.